I was like, this lady literally just snatched off her wig on the podcast. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Shook. Okay. When I tell you I was shook, but that lives rent free in my head for sure. Okay.
Friends and beauty, yeah, the vibe stay lit. Community strong, we legit, that's it. Stories, lessons, gems we share freely. Learn, laugh, glow, we lead and truly. It's the Friends and Beauty podcast with your best friend in beauty.
Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. Now, today's episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, this is not any just regular episode. This is episode 300, y'all. Oh my gosh, what a journey to get here. I got to give you the tea real quick, but before I give you the tea, let me know if you like the new theme song, the new Friends and Beauty intro for the podcast. Let me know if you're feeling it, okay? I want to try and spice it up a little bit, try something different. So I created a little theme song for the Friends and Beauty podcast. So leave a comment down below and let me know if you're feeling it or not. Because, of course, if you're not feeling it, maybe I'll consider getting rid of it. But I think it's really, really cute. I've been singing it like for weeks. I've been singing it for weeks. So I think it's really, really cute. But let me know how you feel about it. So, let me tell you something. Episode 300. Like, this is so crazy. Let me tell you, this is the second time that I am recording this. Okay. Full transparency. Today is Wednesday, December 10th. It is 9:46 in the morning right now. And this episode was supposed to come out at 8 o'clock. I woke up to a text from my editor saying, like, the whole episode never recorded on Riverside. Let me tell you something. Riverside, count your freaking days, okay? Because I used Riverside some years ago because they say it's such a good platform for podcasting. I used it some years ago, and the first time I used it, it made a fool out of me, okay? The audio and the video wasn't synced, and I had to re-record that episode. So I never ever like used it again. I was scared to use it. So when I started working with this new podcast manager, he was like, he mainly uses Riverside. I'm like, oh my God, Riverside made a fool out of me, okay? So I was a little nervous, but it's been going pretty well up until this morning. Like literally so irritated. Okay. So irritated. So I said, let me just re-record this and edit it myself. And hopefully I can get it out by like 12 p.m. My podcast manager was saying that he could get it out this evening, but I was like, that's too late. Y'all know how I am. Y'all know how I am. This is just showing you like just the dedication that I have to getting this out, like to having the podcast be delivered on time and consistent is just so important to me. So, especially for episode 300, I'm like, absolutely not. Like this has to come out at a decent time. Looking at my makeup too. I had to wake up this morning. Where's my little makeup bag? Because we gonna do whatever. We rocking with it today. We rocking with it today. I had to wake up this morning, really quick and do my makeup. I was babysitting my goddaughter last night. So while she was still sleeping, I said, let me just go ahead and do my makeup while she's still asleep. So after I drop her off, I could just come back home and start recording. I ain't like how that line was looking on my forehead. Had to blend that out. But yeah, I didn't like the yeah, anyways, yeah, so I had to drop her off, come back and record this episode. So let me get into the zone. Okay. I have a very, very special episode planned for you today. Just recapping some of my most memorable moments from the podcast over the last 5 years, which is crazy. So crazy. So I do want to tell you just a little bit first about how the Friends in Beauty podcast came about if you're not familiar. So I started Friends in Beauty in 2019 and it was just networking events in the DMV area just to bring the beauty community together. And then when the pandemic happened, we literally had our last event March 15th, and I believe the shutdown happened on like March 16th. So once the pandemic happened, we of course we couldn't get out and do events anymore. Networking kind of came to a halt. I remember Riverside, not Riverside. I got Riverside on the brain. Clubhouse was like really popping at that time. People were going on there just getting in the rooms and chatting and networking and stuff like that. So I know I did a few little Clubhouse things. I was going live on Instagram and stuff, but I had always wanted to start a podcast, but at that time, I didn't really feel like I really had the time to like sit down and figure it out and dedicate to like, you know, making it happen. So when the pandemic happened, I was like, this is like the perfect time. I can figure out how to do the podcast, launch it, all that good stuff. So I ended up investing in what's the name of the course? I think it's called Podcast Moguls or something like that. But Nikayla Matthews, who is the host of the Side Hustle Pro podcast, she has a course that basically helps you from start to finish on how to start and launch your podcast. So I did that and I launched the Friends of Beauty podcast on May 5th, 2020. And we have been releasing episodes every Wednesday ever since. Rain, shine, bad Wi-Fi, deleted episode or not. Like even when I've traveled overseas and I'd be struggling with the Wi-Fi over there, I had to learn my lesson. Like, okay, you got to do this in advance and upload it before you go because the Wi-Fi overseas, ooh, I remember when I went to Senegal, it literally took like 24 hours to upload an episode. It was crazy. And then one time I went to the Dominican Republic, I had to actually get my best friend to, and she's not techie at all. I had to get her to upload the episode and do stuff for me because the Wi-Fi was not doing what it needed to do. So I really pride myself on getting these episodes out to you. So I recorded episode 300 days ago. Okay. Like I thought we was good and in the clear. And when I woke up to that text this morning, I was just like, literally like the first thing I saw, I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I thought about going live, maybe live on YouTube or something like that and just re-recording it that way. But I'm like, let me just take a beat. And that's why I really feel like it's so important too to be able to know how to do certain things in your business. I'm so grateful. Like when I was sitting down about to record, I'm like, yo, I'm so grateful that I'm even techie or that I even know how to edit. Because if I didn't know how to edit, then I would be solely like dependent upon my podcast manager to get it out at a later time. And like that's just too late for me. So let me see. Let me look at my notes. Let me look at my notes. Oh yeah, let me tell you about the first few guests. Okay, so let me tell you about when I first launched the podcast. So when I first launched the podcast, I started off, I believe, with 3 episodes, which is something that I recommend. That's something that I learned inside of the course, is that when you launch a podcast, you do want to start off with like at least three, and if you could do five, at least like 3 to 5 episodes. Three is good though, because I feel like, you know, of course, if the episode is good or people are feeling it, they're going to want to keep on, tuning in. But if they have to wait until the next week or every other week, I don't know, the frequency of however you may want to release your episodes, then it's kind of like a bummer. And that actually happened to me recently. I found a podcast that I liked and they only had 1 episode. I'm like, darn it, when I don't even know when the next one is going to come out. So I launched with 3 episodes. Episode 1 was just me basically telling my story from start to 2020, which I feel like I need to do another one because so much has happened since then, since the last 5 years, so much has happened for me to add on to my story. So I definitely need to probably reintroduce myself to the Friends of Beauty podcast. We have lots of new people here as well, but could definitely go back to episode 1, The Hero's Journey, to check that out. And then episode 2 and 3, I believe, was Morel Hollis and Brittany Rogers. So I started off with interviewing those 2 people first because I was brand new to interviewing, number one, kind of sort of. I mean, I be talking to people all the time, but brand new to the podcast. So I wanted to start off with people who I was familiar with, who would give me grace, like just in case, it didn't really go well. So Morel is one of my mentors. Brittany was my makeup instructor. One of my mentors as well at Bennett Career Institute. So I started off with those 2, and I feel like I need to get them back on the podcast too. I just saw Joelle the other day inside of B Class. Tayana Robinson and Sonia Rodriguez hosted B Class on Sunday, and I was the MC. And I saw Joelle Phillips in there, and I was like, dang, I need to get Joelle back on the podcast too, because I feel like off the top of my head, I don't even know. She might have been like episode 9 or something. Like she was really, really early. And so much has been going on in her career as well. So I was like, I need to get back and like reconnect with some people that have been on the podcast. But y'all, I have interviewed over 150 people on the podcast over the last 5 years. And that's like the last time I counted. I know it's over 150 people. I have interviewed 300 episodes. Is crazy to me. And like I can't necessarily say that I didn't see myself getting here. I just never really thought about it. I knew that I wanted to start the podcast and I wanted to, be consistent and keep going, but 300 episodes is insane because I feel like the average, I was supposed to look it up before this. I feel like the average podcast, when they start, they don't get past like 10 episodes or something like that, and then they stop. Like, think about the amount of people that you know that started podcasts and now it's just collecting dust on Apple or Spotify. So 300 episodes is definitely a big deal. I'm definitely wanting to grow even more. We need some more community here, okay? We need to add some more people to the community, get some more listeners and all of that. So I do want to start doing some really fun segments and incorporating some like group chats and getting more people like panel style on the podcast to share their opinions and everything like that. But it's time to bump it up, okay? So if you are watching this, if you can hear my voice, if you're watching me, please make sure that you are subscribed wherever you are listening or following or watching from. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, a review, something. Share this episode with another friend in beauty or a family member or something. Tell them to subscribe too, so we can get the more people, the more the message is going to get out there. So, okay. So I don't know if there's anything else I want to tell you. I do want to tell you too that I am going to relaunch the Friends and Beauty community again in January. So maybe next episode or coming episodes, I'll give you more information about that, how you can join us over there. But I am so committed to just getting this community right and like really growing the numbers and making connections and supporting my friends in beauty. So as many times as I gotta, as many iterations as I need of the community, I would do it. So yeah, that's how we come in for 2026. So let's go ahead and jump into it. What I wanted to do today, like I said, was just, and it's so crazy when you re-record things because I literally don't even remember probably what I said in the first time I recorded this. So what I want to do is just recap some episodes with you, some episodes that really stood out to me when I was like really thinking about the podcast, kind of like a little Friends and Beauty Awards ceremony in a little sense. So the first one, and I'm going to show you the clips too. So the first one that I want to start off with is the most played episode. So the most played episode comes from episode 94 with Tatiana Ward, aka Beatface Honey. That episode has 4.8K views. 4.8K views. And what's crazy about it too, I know I said this the last time. What's crazy about it too is this is why I need y'all help. I am still not monetized on YouTube. I got 4.8K views. I got the subscribers, but I don't have the watch hours. I need a certain amount of watch hours. How do I have 4.8K views on this and I'm not monetized? That is so crazy to me. But I know for sure with this episode, Tatiana had a real like hot take about Nicki Minaj. And I was like, let me just experiment this. I think this was the first time I experimented with like running an ad for the podcast. So I think that numbers are what they are because I put that like hot take as like the ad thing. So maybe I gotta explore ads again. I don't know. I don't know. But 4.8K views is crazy. I love how I was able to chat with Tatiana because I before I started doing makeup, of course, was on YouTube. And B Face Honey was one of the channels that I used to watch all the time. She would do these like crazy cut creases, and one video in particular I'll never forget is her building a makeup kit. She had her best friend there. They were like in the kitchen area or something like that, and she had the like stacks of those blue box lashes back in the day that you used to get in Atlanta for like $1. But she was building a makeup kit, so I'll never forget that episode like that. But yeah, I was so excited to be able to chat with her. So let me go ahead and cue up this clip and show you. Oh my gosh. Let me go ahead and cue up this clip and show you exactly why this was the most played episode. Since we talk about celebrities, I would love to know because it's always, I think a lot of people aspire to celebrity makeup artists, but like you said, it's a lot that goes into it. And some things I know that you're not going to really learn until like you're in the moment. It's just certain things that you just have to experience. But what is like set etiquette when working with celebrities, like the do's and the don'ts, like of working with them? So you can make sure they call you that.
Everybody's different. Like every artist is different, but Nikki definitely taught me like uh, it going from Brandy to Nikki, they are two huge extremes, like two very, very different girls. But Brandy wanted to talk like we were best friends, and it would be like, okay, we should probably shut up and do the makeup now. Nikki, it was like, do not speak unless spoken to. So working with Nikki, I just, frankly, I'm scared of her. Like, I've never said this publicly, but she's not nice. I literally have never ever spoken down on her. But it was not a good experience. And I learned from her so much, like so much. But in terms of etiquette, like with celebrities, I think that she's probably more right. Like, just don't speak unless spoken to. Allow them to warm up to you. Like, allow them to. Not everybody's going to be Brandy. Right. Most of the time they're not Brandy, but most of the time they're not Nikki either.
Okay. Okay. Let me tell you something. When she said that, I kind of chuckled because that wasn't the first time that I've heard a story about Miss Minaj. Okay. So to hear her say that, I was like, oh my gosh. Because I remember when she started working, like, she documented all this stuff on her YouTube channel. So I remember when she was working with Keisha Cole, Brandy, which was like so dope. Like Brandy, because Brandy and Monica on tour right now. So Brandy and then Nicki Minaj. So, from the outside looking in, we're like, this is the bomb. Like, this is such a great opportunity, but we literally never know what people are going through behind the scenes with these celebrities. So for her to share that I was like, whoa, okay. Like the rumors must be true, right? So one thing I really, really love about chatting with Tatiana too is like a lot of times when I talk to people on the podcast, some of them, like many of them, I've literally never met them before in person. And up until that point, I had never met Tatiana either. She had sent me some of her lashes. Like after the interview, she sent me some of her lashes in the mail, and I wore them things to the ground. It was a pair of magnetic ones that I really, really liked. And she had like the magnetic, was a magnetic eyeliner to go with it. You just pop it on. I was obsessed with those lashes, but I had never met her in person up until maybe when was that episode? Let me see. That episode came out in 2022. So maybe like a year and some change later, we actually crossed paths in person, which was so cool. And it's such a full circle moment. So I was working on the Real Housewives of Potomac at that time with Ashley Darby. That's my girl. Okay. There'll be no Ashley Darby slander allowed here on the podcast. That's my girl. Love me some Ashley. So I was working with Ashley Darby and we were doing what they call the gallery shoot, which is like um the like when the new season comes out and you see the group photograph of all of them together. Maybe I'll if I could find the picture, maybe I'll insert the picture of when I did Ashley's makeup for that gallery shoot, but I'll insert it right here if I could find it. But when I was there, Karen Huger's dressing room was like literally next to Ashley's, and Beeface Honey does Karen Huger's makeup. I'm not sure if she's still doing it, but that's one of Karen's makeup artists. So she just happened to like pop out. Like we would just like, walk because everything is like divided. You can't see who, what anybody's doing. So she happened to like pop out at one time and I was just like, oh my gosh, like kind of like starstruck and said, so here's the selfie that we took. So it was just like full circle for me to like just go from watching somebody on YouTube and aspiring, to be a makeup artist like them, to then having her on the podcast and then actually like being on set working with this person. How do I go from aspiring to be a makeup artist and looking up to somebody and then being on set with them? Yes, so that's definitely one of my favorite moments. So appreciative that Tatiana even agreed to do the podcast. I hope all is well. I have not chatted or seen her in a while. So if you're watching, hey girl, hey, I hope all is well with you and your little one and everything. So yeah, that is the most played episode 94 of the Friends in Beauty podcast. So definitely go and check it out. I will leave a link down below. And one thing I will say before I jump into the other clips is when I was like pulling the clips and everything like that, I was really loving like the evolution of of it all. As you can see with that one, my branding wasn't the same. Like my logo was different, the colors were different, my background was different. I used to record that background. I used to record in like this community room in my old apartment building and the Wi-Fi was in there was kind of shaky too. But I used to record down there, and you'll see a little different iterations of like the like just my background change. I look different. I just loved like reminiscing and going down memory lane like this. So that was episode 94. And with all of these, I will leave the links down below in the show notes or description so you can go check out the episode if you want to see it. So the next one, the next award goes to the most surprising guest moment. Okay, so this is from episode 95 with Maxine Pittman. And this was the most surprising guest moment because Maxine turned out to be my birthday twin. Like, and I want to say that we're the same age. So I feel like she's like my true birthday twin. I gotta find out how old she is because I always be thinking people my age and they either younger or older. But I feel like she's like my true birthday twin. And it was before the interview even started. We were just doing the icebreakers, and it was something that she said. I can't really remember what it was. It was something that she said that alluded to like, oh, hmm, let me see something. Let me go ahead and cue up the clip for you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But oh my gosh, I was like so shook because I know a lot of people. Well, I know enough people with my birthday, but to meet them like this was like so crazy to me.
And I think this was when I first started like figuring out wigs and stuff like that with like wig glue and all that kind of stuff. Before that, I would just like pin the wig to my own hair, like braid my own hair under it and like pin it and like had the little like strap in the back. And this was before I started really using wig glue. And I would ask other girls like, do y'all really be using wig glue and ripping the wig off and like messing up your edges? And these girls like jumped on me in the comments and were like, you supposed to wash it off? Why would you rip the wig off? And I was like, oh my God, this is too much for me. Okay, it's very community. Wig community like ganged up on me. I said, you know what? This ain't for me. I said, let me go ahead and just cut all my hair off. And I did, and I loved it. And I haven't gone back yet. So
I know that's right. So the most important fun fact that I heard that you didn't really say, but you said is that you're an Aquarius. Is that right?
Yes, I am Aquarius Nation all day. All day. All day. Yes, I am an Aquarius. Yes, February 4th. So are you an Aquarius?
That's my birthday.
You're lying.
We have the same birthday.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I love that.
I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. Yes, February 4th. That is so well, then I guess this was God telling me that I should have done this podcast when you asked me like 6 months ago. So yes,
I think it's always right.
That is awesome. Well, happy early birthday. I hope you're doing something fun to
have some fun plans. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
God, that's so y'all shooketh. And I feel like our energy is kind of the same, you know? I was shook. As you see, Maxine is the founder, CEO of Trust Obsessed. She owns a vending machine business, a beauty vending machine business. So her vending machines are all over different, I think in LA. I got to go back to the episode, but I know she was trying to expand and get into some airports, possibly go to Howard University. So I gotta catch up with Maxine to see where she is. Maybe I gotta get her back on the podcast and see, where she is right now in her business. But like I was shook. It was something that she said about like maybe my birth. I think she said something like her birthday coming up or something like that. She was gonna do like skiing or something like that. And we did that interview like in January. So I'm like, okay, I just did the math. I'm like, if her birthday's coming up, okay, that means that we going into Aquarius season. Shout out to all my Aquariuses. Shout out gang gang. If you Aquarius, drop the Aquarius sign down in the chat, down in the comments, chat, whatever. When I was growing up, my childhood best friend had the same birthday as me too, which is so crazy. But she was a year older than me. And now my best friend as an adult, Dayana, her birthday's 2 days before mine. So the Aquariuses, we be we just be attracting each other. But that was my most surprising guest moment because I mean, how often do you really meet your birthday twin, right? How often do you do that? And then on the podcast of that, and that was before we even started the interview, child. That was in the icebreaker. So that goes to Maxine Pittman, episode 95. Go and check that out because I was really intrigued about just the business in general. Like when we think about not even beauty, when we think about vending machines, we always think about like snacks and juice and water and stuff like that. And I have seen like some lash ones around in the mall and stuff. Oh, I saw a press-on nail one recently. If you're in the DMV area, I saw it at Tanger outlets, and they have it by the bathroom. Really, really cute idea. And it wasn't even that expensive. I recently saw another vending machine in the airport that had flowers in it, roses. So I think it's just such a cool idea. I really hope that she can get into some airports because she carries like travel sizes of beauty products. So if TSA be taking people's stuff, not me because I pack properly, but TSA be taking stuff sometimes. So if you could have a vending machine in the airport just to get some essentials real quick. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that was my most surprising guest moment. If you are enjoying this so far, let me know down in the comments if you're enjoying this recap. And it's so funny. I've done seen, of course, I had to choose the clips and all of that for this. And I'm over here watching it again like it's the first time. Like it's my first time seeing it, but it really does bring me so much joy. Like these are the episodes that like really, really stand out to me when I was thinking about doing this for y'all. So let me go to, oh my gosh, the funniest guest moment, which is episode 150 with Jane Harris. She is the CEO of the Virgin Hair Fantasy. Okay, and when I say this moment lives rent free in my head. Jane has come back to the podcast. Since then she's been on the podcast twice, but this first encounter with her like lives rent free in my head. I will never ever forget it as a moment on the podcast because she really had me tickled. Like she snatched my edges. It had me so tickled. But Jane, I really, really love Jane. I love her energy and everything. So let me cue up this. I don't even want to tell you what she did. I just want to show you. I don't even want to tell you what she did. I just want to show you. So let me cue this up. Stop share. What are you doing? All right. Period. All right. Let's get into this.
It's funny that because I told you I just had a coaching session. The next level that I'm trying to take myself, I can't have pride. Pride is messing with pockets. Pride doesn't pay bills. So I'm like, no pride. You can literally look at my face like, I don't want your hair. I don't like you. Okay, no problem. Have a nice day. I'll go to the next person. This is not personal. This is not personal. So no pride. 2023, do what you have to do. Period. Okay. Yes. And I know you said like the Virgin Hair Fantasy is also for like busy moms. Like how quick can a busy mom like throw on a wig and just like look up? Oh yeah. I hope y'all are watching on YouTube. Yes, that quick. Like if I say, I almost did my lock wig is with my sister, and I would have had that on. Oh my god, I made this gorgeous lock wig. Can I do that kind of wig with my locks? Yes, because it's so fluffy and beautiful that you won't even because you have a lot of hair and you can just tuck it in and we can do it in that color that you got that. I think it's a cranberry brownish earthy brown, yeah. It's beautiful. So yeah, we can do it in that color. You just took me out. That's the only way to do it. Like I have to show you, and then every now and then I'm in the streets like this, like, hey, I love the versatility. I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. I was like, this lady literally just snatched off her wig on the podcast. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Shook. Okay. When I tell you I was shook, but that lives rent free in my head for sure. Okay. And I absolutely love Jane's energy. Like, I don't know, for some reason I thought she lived in like New Jersey or something, but she told me she lives in Atlanta and I have family in Atlanta. So I told her next time I come down there, I want to meet her so bad. I want to meet her in person. I just love, love, love her energy and her drive and her passion for her business and for her family. She don't play about her family, okay? So that was episode 150, Jane Harris snatching her wig off on the podcast, okay? So if you are a busy mom, Jane showed you that you could pop on, listen, you could pop on a wig just like that. Okay? Just like that. Oh my gosh. Let me know what you think about that. Anywho, so the next award that we have, which is iconic in a sense, is the most surprising gem from a guest. Okay, so this is episode 147 with none other than the legendary Sam Fine. Okay, so first of all, to get Sam Fine on the podcast is just a dream. Okay, I told him I think he completed my list of my dream guest. For sure, I had to have Morel. I had to have Danessa, did that. And Sam was like the last one. Melissa Butler too, but I think Sam was like the last piece of that puzzle. And when I talked to him, because I do want to interview Sir John, Rennie Vasquez is on my list as well. So he was like, "Oh, once you get Rennie, Sir John, you go forget." I'm like, absolutely not. Like this chatting with Sam, like if you've ever met him before, the poise, the elegance of it all, like he is a old, like he is the standard, like in the industry. He has touched so many people, and I always tell people, I like to say I come from like the Sam Fine lineage because the people that like Nikki Posley and Sonia Rodriguez and like that I've learned under, they've learned under Sam as well. So I like to say that I'm a part of the Sam Fine lineage. Okay. So this is the most surprising gem from him because he shares something that just humanized. I mean, we know that he's human, but it's something about when we look at senior artists and maybe celebrity artists that we feel like they can't make mistakes or they just get it right all the time. So he shared a gem that was so important for me to hear, so important for like younger artists to hear, just to see like even even saying fine can have his days every now and then. So let me go ahead and cue up this clip for you. And I'm just like looking at it again, like I just love how he just sits back and he listens and he's just so he's the bomb. So let's go ahead and hop into this clip real quick. I gave her what she asked for, and she looked in the mirror and did not like it at all. And she was like, "Can I see the wipe?" And I thought she was just gonna like clean up something. Right. Wiped her face, and I was just like, "What?" And it was for an event. It was for the Women's March that was here in DC like some years ago. And yeah, that was a very interesting situation. But the coordinator for us, she was like, come here. She was like, there was nothing wrong with her makeup. She's just nervous. Like she has a lot of pressure on her and she just, has a lot going on. And I was like, okay, but my feelings were hurt. I was like, whoa. Had never had anybody do that to me before. I have not had that happen, but I have done what I think to be some of my best work. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out. Sometimes it's just personalities. Yeah. Sometimes someone else can get away with something that you can't. You know, I bleached Vanessa Williams' eyebrows. I talk about this all the time. It was not a good day. And so the time I chose to be different and unique, it was not good. Okay. And I'm fortunate, I will say this to your story. I'm fortunate that it was Iman and Vanessa and that they still trusted and saw something in me that I could improve. Mm-hmm. I think it's short sighted for people to deem you untalented or worthy or I'm going to wipe my whole makeup off. And I do understand that some people are learning. I hope that they're honest with their clients and saying, I've never used this before, or I want to try something new on you because you have to bring them along the journey with you. You know, nobody's perfect. If I'm just starting out and using a new foundation,
I got to be real about that. Because if it backfires on me, it's going to look as if I knew what I was doing and it just didn't pay off.
Mm-hmm. And I love that advice, and I love that it's coming from you for people to see that even Sam Fine, has his moments, because there are a lot of artists out there who feel like if I tell my client I don't like the way this looks, they're not going to see me as a professional. If I mess up or something, or if I tell them, like if I try to bring them along on this journey with me, they're going to think that I don't know, what I'm doing.
You know what I love? I have a pet peeve, and you'll get this analogy. I hate it when waiters act like they've worked here forever and you're new. If you say you're new,
Yeah,
how much more patience am I going to afford you?
exactly.
All I want to know, oh my God, I have this new foundation. I really want to try it out. Want to see how it wears. This appearance isn't one of the most important. So let's just try it out and see how it wears. Or something along the way that takes some of the pressure off of you. I think the pressure of perfection is what puts us in a position of, oh, you like this? No, but if I would have told you when I was doing it that I didn't like it, right, look how we would have worked to resolve this. Mm-hmm. I had to tell Queen Latifah, I've got to take this lash off of you. It did not place right. Let me say this and everybody hear me loud and clear. Makeup is not an exact science. Like cooking.
Yeah.
Cooks are off. Your swing, your placement, the lighting, your anxiety, their anxiety are all elements that can change the ultimate outcome.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Like, it just makes you feel so much better coming from Sanfire. I love that he said makeup is not an exact science, because it really isn't. Like, I do my makeup all the time, like the same way all the time, but sometimes my brows look a little different, guys. The brows, or I might not have did something, it's just not an exact science. Sometimes, whatever's going on for your body, it may affect how the makeup places and stuff like that. So I just love that advice coming from him, and just knowing that even Sanfire has his moments where he could, he messes up every now and then. Every now and then. Don't make it a thing. And I love that he has dedicated clients that, like you said, that just don't write him off on the first bad sign of something. Like, that lady was tripping. Okay, that's the first and only time that has ever happened to me. Somebody didn't like their makeup and like took it off. Like, normally people are like, oh, can you add a little bit more blush? Or can you, oh, this wing, or you know what I'm saying? But she literally took the wipe and wiped her entire face off. Like, what the hell? Anyways, I don't even know what that lady looked like. Like, I could walk past her on the street, but at the time when it happened, I was like shook. Okay, so shook. So go back to episode 147 if you want to tune into the rest of the gems that Sam Fine shared. But definitely most surprising gem from a guest came from episode 147 with the Sam Fine. Oh my God, I actually saw Sam recently. Like, we didn't get to connect, but I went to the Black Beauty roster luncheon in September, and when we got there we didn't know who the honorees were ahead of time. So I saw that Iman was being honored, but it literally did not click. It literally did not click that it was Iman, like the Iman. So when she walked in, oh gosh, so gorgeous, so stunning. Like, I literally got teary-eyed when I saw her, because Iman Cosmetics was like one of the first, it was fashion fair, and Iman Cosmetics was like one of the first brands that my mom let me like play with when I said that I wanted to, play in makeup and stuff like that. So, and Sam does Iman's makeup. So she was there, and I think I tagged him on a post on Instagram, like my stories. He's like, "Oh, I didn't get to see you." Like, "Hey girl," kind of, kind of thing. So excited to know that like Sam Fine knows who I am now. Yes. Okay. So let's move on to the most emotional interview. Okay. The most emotional interview comes from episode 75 of the Friends of Beauty podcast with Mr. Chet Bennett. Okay. Mr. Bennett is the founder, CEO of Bennett Career Institute. Bennett Career Institute is the school that I went to for makeup artistry. When I decided I wanted to be a makeup artist, I was like, I need to take a class. I need to be taught. and it's local. It's in my neighborhood. So a plus. And full circle moment back in 2018, Mr. Bennett actually invited me back to become the Makeup 101 instructor at Bennett Career Institute. So I'm teaching other artists in the same capacity that I learned in, which is like such an honor and such a pleasure. But yeah, we had a good run from like 2018 up until like right before the pandemic happened, and we literally just started back classes like last year. Sometime I think it was last year. Was it this year? I can't even keep up, honey. I can't keep up with the years. I know it's almost 2026, but woof, Lord have mercy, I can't keep up. But we just started back classes. So if you are interested in taking Makeup 101 with me at Bennett Career Institute, if you're in the DMV area, definitely go to bennettcareerinstitute.org, I believe, and enroll. I'll be your instructor. But episode 75, this clip is a little bit longer, but it's important that you hear the information that he is saying. But Mr. Bennett means so much to me. And basically, just to give you a background of the clip, Mr. Bennett had dealt with kidney disease. Mr. Bennett had kidney disease, and in the nick of time, he was able to get a kidney transplant. So he was basically telling me the backstory about, going through that process. And I just shared with him how I felt, and I got a little emotional. And it's okay. I don't think I'll get emotional today. I hope not. I have tissue just in case, but I swear when I was pulling the clips to put into this episode and I watched it again, I literally started crying all over again. Which so I was like, maybe I'm not over it. Am I over it? I mean, I don't think it's anything I had to get over, but let me go ahead and cue up this clip for you. It's a little long, but it's important that you hear what he's sharing. So I have been watching your YouTube with the Kidney Cafe. You do the kidney conversations and everything. Can you share a little bit with the Friends of Beauty that don't know, like what was the inspiration behind that? You mentioned your kidney transplant.
Very good. So basically, I was sitting on the sofa. I started laughing. My stomach was hurt. Anything I do, my stomach started hurt. So I said, I need to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor. They said, check your kidneys failed. You need to go on dialysis. I said, I'm not going to believe that. I went then to the emergency room, Georgetown. They said the same thing. So I was like, wow. So basically, the short version of Queer is that ever since I moved to Atlanta, when I went to Morehouse College, I would eat a lot of highly seasoned food. I love the pork chops and the collard greens and the mac and cheese and the candy yams and all that good stuff. And I would do that kind of stuff on a daily basis. The three main causes of kidney disease was obesity, and that was the area where I was going. I was in the sixth grade wearing a size 40 waist, okay? Hypertension, which I had high blood pressure. I didn't really get high blood pressure until I started to school. And then diabetes, which I became a diabetic in like the mid 2000s. So I had everything forward. But basically, it was me finding out that my kidneys had failed. And that 14 months I was on dialysis was the worst time of my entire life. I saw people die in front of me, too weak to get up my stairs, having somebody to bathe me from time to time. It was just an extremely traumatic experience. And the funny thing about it is that I knew that God had something else for me. So during my walk into my car after treatment, I can remember like it was yesterday. I would say, God, I just can't do too much more of this. I can't. You have to help me. Show me why am I suffering like this at 49? I don't understand what's going on, Okoye. And it really bothered me because I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. I said, God, all these years I've been helping people and changing lives, that this is what happened to me, And then there was one point where I was in my mind, I'm being honest, I'm not going to say I was ready to check out, but I was preparing. Because when you see people that you're talking to and they're going to cardiac arrest right in front of you in those chairs, you just start to think about yourself. And so it was a traumatic time. So when I got the transplant from Dr. A.C. Williams, who had been my mentee and worked under me for 20 years, I had no donor. Once she gave that to me, I said, you know what? Because I also saw some terrible things in healthcare when I was on the system. Let me just share one quick thing. I'm trying to get emotional. But there was a time, Aquia, that my port didn't work.
And my port didn't work, but my insurance had lapsed. Because my insurance had lapsed, I couldn't get a new port because I didn't have insurance. I said to them, and I'm calling everybody. So so you all expect me to just die? Because if I can't get the access to work, how can I get my treatment?
Right.
Believe it or not, there was nothing that anyone could do. They said because of the laws about preconditioned illnesses, nobody would give me insurance. It so happened, Aquia, that I'm there and couldn't get the thing done. I believe it was God who changed it because all of a sudden it just started working again. And then I got a donor. But if it didn't work, there was nobody to help me. And I'll never forget this one guy said to me, and this is what happened. This was going on today. The one guy said to me, the only thing that's going to work is you need to, as a business owner, you need to apply for insurance for your staff people, and you be one of those staff people. And that's how I was able to get insurance. Because guess what? Without insurance, you can't have the surgery neither. So it was a situation where I felt that I had no one in my corner. I'm on the phone every day calling people. I'm talking to counselors and everyone. And the reason why I shared that is because that's why it's important that we have universal health coverage, and it's important that we have affordable health coverage because of my preconditioned illness. Nobody would accept me. Everything was wonderful until they found out that I was on dialysis.
Right.
And I wasn't going to lie because eventually they'll be able to see what's going on. And it was just a terrible time for me. So I said that to say, I decided to launch the Seattle Foundation to help people to bring awareness about kidney disease, to help people learn how to eat right, to help people to just change their mindset, because a lot of this has to do with the mindset of the people. We have to change how we eat. You know, when people say vegan or healthy food, I want none of that. It's a mindset. Do you want to live? If you want to live, then let's do these alternate substitutes. And I'm not talking about major stuff. I'm just talking about you don't use sugar. It's something else, something that's healthy for you. You know, don't use like I don't use salt. But I create a seasoning that will give me that same kind of taste. It's just about caring about yourself and understanding that this is your temple and you only have one. And what can you do to make it right? And sometimes I fall. Sometimes I do want something greasy and all that kind of stuff. But guess what? I use grapeseed oil to fry my chicken opposed to using the regular oil that's going to clog my arteries.
Right, right. Ooh, I'm so happy, Mr. Benny, that you got that surgery. Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
I'm so happy
too. I'm happy too.
And I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional because you mean a lot to me, Mr. Bennett. Like, and I was so scared, just like seeing you that way. Like when you did come up to the school, the times that you did come, I was really scared that you weren't going to make it, Mr. Bennett, to be honest.
No, I know. And I have people the same way you're doing now. I had students who came up to me who lost best friends and family members through the same thing. And so everybody knows the inevitable if you have a kidney disease. If you don't get a transplant, it's going to happen. And so many people had reached out and I didn't really know the effect until I was out of the hospital, and I told people in lieu of sending me cards and flowers to send me a donation. They didn't know, but I gave all the money to Dr. A.C. Williams because she was a working stylist. That's all she did. But Aquia, I got so much money that I can be a blessing to her. And I couldn't believe that people were giving me money like that. But people kept telling me what I did for them over the years. People were telling me stuff I don't even remember. One girl's
Look, I held it together. I felt it. I felt it coming because it's really still it's fresh enough. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember Mr. Bennett coming up to the school and he just wasn't looking well. He's a very high spirited person and always, running around and things like that. And he just didn't look like himself. And it was really scary. It was really scary. And I really am so happy that he was able to get that surgery. Like, and how cool is it that it was his mentee of 20 years that was able to be a donor? And it really speaks to, it's a really a testament to who he is. For somebody to want to give you their kidney to keep you alive, that means that you really had a big impact on them. And I want to say that he gifted her one of his salons too. Mr. Bennett owns like some salons and stuff like that in the area. And I want to say he gifted her one of his salons as well. But like Mr. Bennett, like I just that episode still makes me emotional to watch because Mr. Bennett, he does mean so much to me. I can't tell my story about being a makeup artist without talking about Bennett Career Institute and Mr. Bennett. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I remember growing up, I always wanted to go to Bennett Career Institute before makeup was even a thing. I wanted to be a hairstylist, and I had some people like in my like extended family circle that went to Bennett, so I always wanted to go to Bennett for some reason. So the fact that I ended up at Bennett and now I'm teaching at Bennett is just so full circle. But Mr. Bennett is always, he got his hands in something all the time. So he is well, okay? And he just relaunched the Kidney Cafe. It's at the school, the Kidney Cafe. He did a big like grand opening or pre-launch for it for his birthday. His birthday is August 4th, I think. So he had a birthday party over the summer and I was able to go and celebrate and everything. The food was good. Okay. I don't think that was no kidney food, or if it was, that drink was good. It was like some Jamaican food and stuff. But yes, shout out to Mr. Bennett. Love you much. Love you mucho, Mr. Bennett. Okay, so the next one is the award for the most underrated episode. And I think it's underrated because I think it's underrated because I feel like not enough people saw it. So we got to run it back. This is episode 47 with Alexandra. He is a makeup artist that is based in Atlanta. And I want to say I've been following Alex since like before I started doing makeup. Okay. I have a picture of us somewhere. I'll insert that I met her at the makeup show in 2015. Like I ran into her at the makeup show in 2015 and of course had the chance to interview her several years later on the podcast just from maintaining that connection online and everything like that. But Alex, what I really admire about Alex is like of course her artistry is just the aesthetic is so beautiful, but she's also one of the artists um who shares her opinion and her gems or her insight openly and unapologetically. And one thing that I remember her always talking about was rates. And I feel like she used to teach a class or something about rates and just how to be strategic, like being strategic about like why you're actually charging what you're charging. And I know rates is such a big thing in the industry, like how much do I charge and how much is this person charging and you know all the things. So I really enjoyed her insight and her advice about rates. So let's go ahead and jump into episode 47 and you'll notice that this episode don't have no branding on it, no nothing, but we was rocking out nonetheless. So let's go ahead and jump into this recap. Yeah. Excuse me. What advice can you offer to other beauty pros on like knowing their worth and like setting their rates accordingly? Because I think a lot of times people just pull numbers from wherever. I guess they compare I guess what the going rate is in their city and try to find like a middle ground or try to work. But how can they actually go about doing that where it's like beneficial for them and standing in it and knowing like they're worth, you know, that rate?
Well, it's pretty easy. It's actually really, really simple. And I taught several business classes over the summer, and one of them was on pricing, and how to come up with your rate and how to determine, your expenses versus your income. It is literally expenses versus income. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you have a certain amount of expenses, let's say for you to operate your business per month, it takes $500 worth of products. You got a studio that's $1,000 a month. You have to buy a light, you have to have gas, you have to have the internet connection, you have to have lights on, you have to have all these things that are expenses in order for you to just run your business. Right. So whatever you do as far as income goes, the income has to at least cover the expenses. So what I make has to at least cover that. And then when you look at that, you're like, well, I don't want to just break even. Like, I don't want to just be working to break even. I want to have a little extra on top of that so I can get me a nice purse. So I can, go on a trip. Or I can, instead of the put car, I want to get a nicer car. So like, then it's like, then you have to almost look at the fact of, I can't just cover my expenses. I want to live better than this. I want to put some money away for retirement. I want to, whatever the case you want to do. So then you have to look at what you're doing, your clients. If I have to do 2,000 clients a week to be able to cover that, then that may mean I probably need to charge these people more so that I don't have to do as many clients.
Right.
So imagine you have to do 10 clients at $50 a person. That's $500. Versus you doing 5 clients at $100 a person. That's $500. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference in perspective. Do you want to work harder for the same amount that you can work smarter for? I don't know. Nobody want to do that. Because as much as I work, I want to enjoy my life. Like, I don't want to have to be, okay, I got 10 more clients. I don't want to do that at all, because how do you enjoy that? So that's another thing. You want to charge a rate. And then on top of that, look at your industry. And people always ask me this: look at your industry, look at the city that you live in. Unfortunately, there are some cities that may not have a base rate of $250 or $100 or whatever the case. And I get that. But I think that we have to control that as artists. Again, we're luxury service providers. So why, if you're living in Birmingham, you get together with all the top Birmingham artists, or all the artists for that matter, because who's top, who's bottom, whatever, and say, look, y'all, as a city, we need to be at $100 per person. And if all of us are at $100 per person, which you should all want to be at, a good amount, then how is somebody going to go to somebody else and pay $50? They just can't, because who going to make them $50 if we all charging $100?
Right.
So you have to kind of take the initiative to lead the industry, because it's going to do nothing else but hurt you later on in the long. Because it's not, my clientele is not that, so I don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? But you will hurt yourself, because the moment that you try to jump out of that $50 rate to the $250 rate, they're like, no, girl, you was $50. I'm paying $50 because I don't care what you know. You was $50. Okay?
Right.
They're not going to respect you as an artist, and they're not going to value your work. So you have to look at your end goal. Do you want to just be a $50 makeup artist? If you do, then keep going, sis. Keep doing it. But if you ever want to aspire to these things that we aspire to, it's going to be a gradual process, and it's going to always be understanding and knowing and valuing your work. And that's it.
Yes. Absolutely. I love that advice, because like rates is such a tricky thing. And like she said, like you wanna set it to a point where you could do all the things, saving for retirement, you know, extracurricular activities and things like that. And I mean, when you do raise your rate, you will lose people. I've done a episode before about rates. It's just inevitable that you will lose some people, but you will gain like so much more in the process. So go back to episode 47. Lots of gems in that episode. It's so appreciative for Alex. I need to catch up with Alex too. Like all these people I haven't talked to in so long. And I really want to figure out a way to get like my guests together in like a room, like a real room. So I wanted to do something like that in 2025, but honestly, this year has been such a doozy. Like I don't even know. But yeah, definitely enjoyed that episode with Alex, all about rates and all the things, all the ins and outs of the industry. So shout out to Alex. Have a chat with you. I hope you're well though. I hope you are well. And we have one more, which is like probably I don't know. What's this? Oh, it says the episode with the craziest backstory. I have to give you the behind the scenes tea too about how this episode came about, but this is probably like the craziest episode that I've ever had as far as just somebody being so transparent, okay? So forthcoming with their story. This is episode 181 with Allison Doss. And Allison is a hairstylist that is based in Florida, and I met Allison at the podcast summit. The very first podcast summit was in Miami in, I think, 20. I don't get me to start lying. I think it was 2022 or something like that. I don't even know. Don't either 2022 or 2023. 2023. Maybe it's 2023. So the podcast summit is hosted by David Shands, who is the host of the Social Proof podcast, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole world, co-host Donnie Wiggins, and he hosted the podcast summit And that first year, I had the highest ticket tier, which is All Star. And as an All Star, you had access to these podcast recording booths. And at the podcast summit as well, they had an app that you could connect with other people that were at the summit. So while I was there, I was like, dang, I wonder if it's anybody that's here in the beauty industry that I could interview. So I went into the app and I just put in there like, hey, if there's anybody in the beauty industry, I would love to like interview you, whatever. So two people responded. A barber, I forget, I think he's based in Texas, and Allison responded. The barber I interviewed literally was such a good chat, but I never got that footage from his videographer. So maybe I just need to reach out to him and just have him come on the show so we could reconnect and stuff like that. Because he's a really successful barber, like six-figure business and all that stuff. And he was starting his podcast. I wonder if he's still doing his podcast and everything. So I need to reconnect with him and see. But Allison also responded and told me that she would be open to doing an interview, and come to find out it was her very first podcast interview. So this is the episode with the craziest backstory because this is the first and only time so far on the podcast where I had to put like a trigger warning. I had to put a trigger warning at the beginning of the episode, like a little disclaimer, like, hey, if you deal with substance abuse, alcoholism, prostitution, like that type of vibe, then like maybe you want to skip over this episode because Allison got so real and so raw. And I remember after chatting with her, I was really so pumped up because I was like, these are the kind of conversations, not necessarily say that everybody has to have a crazy story, but the way that she was so the way she was just so transparent and sharing her story and everything and just trusting me in that moment and just being so raw. I was like, this is the type of conversations I want to have on the podcast. I want to be able to talk to people like, like you my girl or whatever. So let me go ahead and cue up this clip for you, and then I'll come back and share a little bit more. But oh, let me tell you about Allison too before I share the clip. One thing about Allison too is that Allison, like she hairstylist, so hair is laid. But one thing about her too, I had seen her walking around the podcast summit. I was like, I bet you that's her. I just had a feeling because she literally was like one of the very few white people. I'm not even trying to be funny, but she was one of the very few white people that was at the podcast summit. So you automatically stand out. But then she had like swag too. Like she had on green this fire green tracksuit, like Adidas tracksuit, hair all pretty, tattoos. She had like these tattoos on her knuckles that says Boss Doss. Like she's just like the coolest. Okay. So let me go ahead and cue this thing up because I really, really enjoyed chatting with her.
If I can do that, you can too. So if I can help you do that, then all of it's not in vain.
Right.
It's for purpose. And I feel purposeful.
Good. I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing. Like just a little bit that you shared so far, just about your background is like really, really powerful. And I know you're going to definitely transform a lot of lives once you like start to get out there and share your story and share your message. So take me back. So you said you've been clean for seven years?
Not completely. I've had a journey with that.
Okay.
But the absolute rock bottom, I was 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It was a culmination of alcoholism and drug addiction from the time of 17. And at that point, I was 40 years old.
Wow.
It started out as a party in New York City, club kids, stripper, everything was all a party.
Where were you from?
No, I'm from Louisiana.
Okay.
But I ran from there screaming when I was 17 because it was just so narrow-minded and so racist. And I liked the black guy. My parents sent me to a private school. And I'm like, I can't believe you're telling me what to do.
Yeah.
So as soon as I graduated, I, hit the hills and I went to Washington, D.C. because I went to D.C. because I thought that had to be the best place on the planet because I read in a book, it's our nation's capital.
Right.
It's from a 500 population town, from a farm.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, DC was like the cat's meow.
Yeah.
I went there, didn't really have a rhyme or reason, just that I knew I had to be there. Got recruited to be a stripper at the age of 17, and that really set in motion that environment of sexualizing my body and getting what I want from men and alcohol and drugs and things like that.
Yeah.
And along the way, that was 17, like, so at 40 years old, that whole lifestyle led me all over the world.
Yeah.
And I thought it was something glamorous. Although things had happened along the way that should have been like rock bottoms, like losing custody of my kids, my very best friend dying, like so many things happened, arrests, jail time, car wrecks, but for me, it took being completely homeless, living in like a really like dark place in the hood in Riviera Beach, which if you're from Florida, you just don't touch space there.
Okay.
And I thought that's where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
No one knew where I was. And I was prostituting, walking the street, jumping in strange men's cars, like doing what I had to do for $20, jump out, go back, doing the shuffle. And then one of the other girls out there that was a drug addict also, she jumped me.
Wow.
I was in a trap house. She didn't want me in the trap house.
Oh my gosh.
And
it's a movie.
And she cut my face. I have like a big scar here. And that was July 4th, 7 years ago. And I remember putting a dirty sock on my face and walking to the hospital, and for the first time in my life going, God help me.
Yeah.
I'd never spoken those words in my life, And God saw fit to place someone in my life, an old friend that was working in a treatment center, got me into treatment. That started my journey at 40.
Wow.
That was the God's gift of desperation that was given to me, was my vanity. My face got cut. I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
This is real.
Right.
I might die out here.
Right.
And I'd never thought about that before.
Wow.
I was just so focused on just being high and like hiding from the shame of being a bad mom, an absent mom, I was so shame filled.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
So
the things that
Y'all, that's just a snippet. That's very close to the beginning of the episode. It was the icebreakers alone that did it for me. I was like, oh wow, she's really coming. She's really going to share. It really is like, I really want you to go back to that episode, 181. Go back to 181 and listen to her story, because it really is such a story of just overcoming and resilience. I know she was working on a book. I have to follow up with her and see if she ever, I think she did release the book. So she needs to come back and update us. And I was like, like I said, I was her first interview. So I'm like, oh, once you share your story through your book, like, you're gonna have more interviews to come. But it really is such a story of resilience. This lady has so many things thrown at her, and for her to still look the way she does, like in good health, like it's really good. Like, one thing that she shared that might get you to watch the episode is like, okay, she went through all this stuff and she eventually like fell in love with this man and everything, and then some years into their marriage, he comes and tells her that he wants to transition to a woman. Yeah, he wants to transition. So he actually went through the whole transition. She tried to stick it out and everything, but it just didn't work. So I'm just like, whoa, like this, it's just so much. Like, right when you get clean again, then some, you get hit with something like that. I can't imagine. So I really appreciated her telling her story. And it was so crazy. Like, her ex had actually like reached out to me after the episode came out. This is a little tea. Had reached out to me after the episode came out, asking if I would delete it because she was misgendering the person. Or I'm just like, no, because this is her story. Like, if you want to go on the platform and tell your version of the story, you can go ahead and do that. But I don't feel like she wasn't dragging the person at all. She was just telling her version of the story. So yeah, the episode stays up. And one thing I really that I was remembering from watching this too is like, normally when I have podcast interviews, I have the opportunity to prepare ahead of time, like look up the guests, kind of prepare some notes and stuff I want to talk about. But with her, because I met her at the podcast summit, I literally didn't know anything about her. So it was literally us just talking and having a conversation off the dome. So that was like, I think the first time I had ever done that with her and with the barber that I interviewed. So I was like really, really like proud of myself that I was able to do that. But hey, Allison, girl, I hope that all is well. You got to come back to the podcast and update us on everything that's going on. Yes. So that is my recap. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite one? What was your favorite one? I went through, let me see. The most played episode, episode 94, the most surprising guest moment, episode 95, the funniest guest moment, episode 150, the most surprising gem from a guest, which was episode 147. Episode 75 was the most emotional interview. Most underrated episode was 147. episode 47, and then episode with the craziest backstory was episode 181. Oh my gosh. And here we are, 300 episodes, 300 episodes later, here we are. It really, what can I really tell you? It's one of those things where you just have to start. A lot of people worry so much about having everything so perfect. And that's what I really like about watching these clips too. We worry so much about having everything perfect before we start, but you have to start first and then you can perfect it. As you can see, the clips, the branding was all different. Like, just even the way I edit was different. It was like, if you really go back and it's just so many different versions and iterations of the podcast, and you just have to start whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a podcast, but you just have to start, and then you can work on fine tuning. And that's like the biggest lesson for me. Just start whatever it is that you're thinking about, that you're on the fence about right now. Just start, and then as you go, you'll learn what you need to do to make it better. But starting is always the hardest part. And I'm so glad that I started. I just seen this trend. I think I might do a reel today. I just seen this trend that's going on right now. Maybe it's from TikTok. There's like um it's like this is what's going on, but it's very important that you keep going because this is where you're going to be. I want to do one of those clips because like I started this podcast in the basement, and now just from consistency and just going forward and just from the support of you that continue to watch and you that continue to support me, I keep on going. As long as I know that I have at least one person that is tuned in and, wanting to see the episodes, I'm going to keep going for as long as I can. So it's very important to me to grow this community so that for me it won't feel like it's in vain. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing this for? Sometimes it can really feel like this, like, what am I doing this for? Because I personally haven't reached the goals that I want for the podcast. So a lot of times it does feel like, okay, like, do people even really care? It really feels like that sometimes. But when I hear the feedback from you all in the comments on the episodes and the comments on social media or the DMs that you send me, it really does make me feel like, okay, it's worth it. So I just need to get it out to more people. That's it. So share this episode, please, with another friend in beauty. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already, because a lot of times when you watch the stuff on YouTube, you don't realize you're not subscribed. So make sure you're subscribed to give this video a thumbs up as well. Also, don't forget to let me know what you think about the song. I think it's super cute. But let me know what you think about the song, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. It is 11 o'clock now, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and sign off so this can process and so that I can edit this and get this out to you today. The dedication is real. I had some other things I was supposed to be doing this morning, okay? So I was a little irritated, but I'm glad I was still able to do this and get this out for you. So of course, stay tuned for everything that's going on with Friends in Beauty and about how you can join the official community, because I think with the community thing, just before I go, the community thing, I'm like, no, I need to figure out a way to bring the podcast, the people that listen to the podcast and like the beauty pros, like all in one place. So if, like, it's like let me go. I ain't gonna say too much. I'm gonna just give you the details when it drops, okay? So thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with another friend in beauty. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review so that other friends in beauty can find the show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, hashtag Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.